NBA players who almost died. The NBA is one of the most amazing basketball leagues the world has ever seen. However, despite being able to do superhuman stunts, the stars are, in the end, very human. And yes, they too have some of the most life-threatening experiences to share. Ranging from a drug overdose that caused a 4-day-long coma to a horrible train accident deep in the South American continent, some incidents almost cost NBA players their most important asset, their lives. While on the NBA circuit, it is not uncommon for players to get injured while dunking or even defending. After all, basketball is a very demanding sport, but imagine an injury that has the potential to ruin your entire NBA career. Spooky, huh? Especially if you're a professional player. Now think of an injury that can derail your entire season and pose a life-threatening issue. Yes, that is exactly what happened to Grant Hill. The NBA superstar had his NBA seasons plagued with multiple injuries and other issues, but it was in 2003 that he faced the biggest ever issue of his career. While playing for Atlanta, Grant had somehow contracted a really bad calf infection. This issue is described clinically as extremely painful, but the main problem is that such an infection can progress rapidly and pose a severe threat to the patient's life. Grant was compelled on a dosage of intravenous antibiotic injections to help combat the infection. While fans were concerned about his health and, of course, his career in the NBA, Grant managed to fight the issue and came out victorious in the end. For Hill, the ending was a happy one as he went on to establish his dominance on the court. However, not everyone is all that lucky, like Chris Bosh. Bosh was a player who has been lighting up the NBA courts ever since he understood the flow of play. However, soon after, disaster struck for the talent. He was diagnosed with multiple blood clots in his lower limbs that greatly impaired his ability on the court. And it actually gets worse for him. The blood clots caused issues with his blood flow, and there was a very real threat to his life. All of this resulted in his inability to play basketball since 2015. Hill was even forced to take blood thinners to ensure that his body did not collapse. Many in the NBA universe, as well as the fans, believed that not only would they never see Hill dancing on the NBA court, but that they may have to be a witness to his funeral. Well, while things got out of hand, Hill managed to fight through his ailment and even returned to the NBA circuit. Not just that, he even got the opportunity to play beside the legends of the game like LeBron James. However, all of this was pretty short-lived. You see, while he managed to come back from a career-devastating injury, the impact it had on his body was simply too much to handle. Eventually, not too long after his appearance in the NBA, Hill was forced to retire from career-related issues. All of these were injuries that eventually culminated into something more serious for them to comprehend. Imagine you're returning to your home country on a train and then suddenly the train gets derailed. Well, that is exactly what happened to Nikola Vukovic. The Uruguayan was returning to his home in the Uruguayan capital of Montevideo and hoping for a nice getaway when things didn't really stay all that nice. He was traveling on a train with his father when the train derailed. The accident was attributed to a brake failure and a whole lot of other logistical and mechanical issues. Miraculously, however, Vukovic, along with his father, survived the entire ordeal. And how lucky is that? Well, the Uruguayan train crash in 2006 left 47 passengers dead, along with over 200 injured. Vukovic was indeed very lucky to escape the accident almost unscathed. Moreover, his few injuries didn't impact his play, and he was soon back in the game. But per Vukovic himself, the entire incident had left a very deep scar in his heart, and he had, since then, tried his best to be a better man. Vukovic was indeed in the wrong place at the wrong time, but sometimes you suffer from the consequences of your own actions. Lamar Odom is a well-known name in the NBA universe, but all of that took a major hit when his alcohol and drug addiction began taking a toll on his life. However, all of that eventually ended up with him being in the news for all the wrong reasons. He was found unconscious in a Nevada brothel by the police. Yes, not only was he unconscious from a drug overdose, but he was also in one of those places where a guy doesn't want himself to be found by the paparazzi ever. And that is not even the end of it. After being shifted to a medical care facility, it took Odom a total of 4 days in a coma to return to normal. Yes, that was how serious the overdose was. Nonetheless, the entire incident took the fans by storm, as most did not expect him to live through the ordeal. However, he did manage to survive the overdose, and now he is trying to be sober. Did I mention he tries to be sober? Well, Odom has been reeling from a really bad drug addiction and was known to be addicted to it. He has been asking for his friends to help him with addiction issues as well as his withdrawal syndromes. He's often mentioned the news of his struggle to keep his house in order as the days of his addiction continue to haunt him. Did you enjoy the video up until now? Then don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel to keep getting updates about our new interesting videos. Coming back to our video, it is time for a daring mugging. Damian Lillard is an NBA superstar who hailed from Oakland. Yes, that Oakland. Being infamous for murders, Damian too had a difficult time growing up in the city. Even though he had repeatedly confessed to the media that he never took part in any crime, the sinister reputation of the city eventually caught up to him. It was in 2008 when Damian was playing as a Portland point guard and was waiting for a bus when he became the target of a daring robbery. As 3 robbers tried to mug him, Damian decided not to give up and tried to resist. The reaction? The robbers pulled out their guns on him. When it seemed that things were getting horrible for the young basketball player, the robbers, for some reason, decided not to shoot after all. Now that's what I call lucky. But for Damian, that was not the end of his luck. He used his experience of the failed robbery to prepare a song of his own called Roll Call. And you guessed it, the song became a major hit amongst the audiences. And that is how you make lemonades out of lemons thrown at you. Interested in another robber story? Only this time there would not be a happy rap song at the end of it all. Imagine you are on a nice gateway to a new city and you get mugged. Seriously, does that happen? Well, that is exactly what happened to LeBron James. He had decided to visit Los Angeles strictly on a sightseeing mission when some robbers made the entire getaway a nightmare for him. Now, LeBron James is a household name in the NBA. Needless to say, many people are jealous of him, especially his greens. But it is apparent that the basketball star did not expect this reaction at all, and hence he was poorly armed and did not take the necessary security steps. The entire incident involved a threat to his life as well. After surviving the nightmare, LeBron mentioned that he had become more cautious than ever before and took necessary steps for his safety. We have seen massive train accidents, drug overdoses, and dating robberies. Now it is the time for something completely different. Always wear a helmet whenever you are on a bike. A simple formula, but something that Jay Williams totally forgot about. While playing for the Chicago Bulls in 2002, Jay was not allowed to use his bike for safety reasons. But he did not listen and decided to take his bike out for a ride anyway, and you guessed it right, without a helmet. A few minutes later, he faced the worst nightmare of his life in a horrible accident that saw his bike get completely destroyed. While Jay suffered from injuries of his own, he survived the entire incident.